think this rivalry has become so big, and I'm going to call it the world's largest outdoor cocktail party because that's what it is, and this is America.
Yes.
In a world where left is up and right is apparently wrong, do souls make sense of it all, or at least have fun trying? Gear up, friends, for Chicken and the Dawg.
Welcome to another episode of Chicken and the Dawg. I am the dog, and with me as always is the guy that at one point in his life also used a Flowbee, the chicken. What up, dog?
You cannot prove that. There's no video to show anything with the Flowbee.
Seen the Flowbee. I haven't seen you use the Flowbee, but I've seen the haircut. And
that was all freehand back in the day. That was all freehand.
Yeah. You sure did look like old Captain Flowbee back in the day. I know that's hard to believe when all the viewers have only seen you with your hippie, long, shaggy locks.
There you go.
When I first met the chicken, it was a buzz cut, Jack. Look, man,
I decided I didn't care.
Yeah. Then he got married and said, I don't care anymore. I'm out. I'll gain weight. I'll let my hair grow long. My beard looks rough sometimes. Who cares?
That's right.
Look, guys, this is going to be really our final forecast show before the season gets kicked off. We're going to do a couple episodes right before the season, just trying to get a good season kickoff show. We've got some exciting things that are in the works right now that I think it's definitely exciting for me and the chicken. And I think it's going to be exciting for you guys as well. I think it's going to be, if it works out the way it's supposed to, I think it's going to be a perfect way to kick out season 2 of Chicken and the Dawg for sure. We are going to recap Florida's season, the Fighting Flowbees. Before we do, we just got a couple things we want to talk about, right? What's going on in the news. And we'll talk about this in a little bit further as we're talking about players for the Florida Gators. But DJ Lagway is still nursing some injuries. And I mean, I think, and we'll get into that more, but I mean, that really hinges. I think that's a big hinge point on Florida's season is DJ Lagway. At least that's what everybody thinks it's going to be. You never know. I mean, you may have another Cardell Jones waiting in the background that's going to come in and light him up. We don't know. DJ Lagway was not really a known person until Graham Mertz went down last year. So who knows? The other thing was there's been rumors that Jimbo Fisher has interest of coming back to coaching. Who would have known?
Who would have known? I hope that his wife knew based on the way he phrased that comment. When he was asked if he wanted to come back in, he started talking about, it's been great being a part of the ACC show and what he does there as an analyst. And he's enjoyed spending time with his family. And right about that's where you can almost envision he's dodging the salad fork that she's chucked across the table. I've really enjoyed being with you, sweetheart, but I'd really like to do this other thing. So who knows? I don't know if anybody will take that bet right now. He believes that he's been successful everywhere he's been, and maybe compared to some other people he has, but typically, Jimbo, they don't exercise the buyout clause when they view you as successful.
No, not at all. I mean, he did win one national championship with Florida State, right? That's when he had
Bobby's team.
Yeah. Who was the quarterback that he had? God, Jameis Winston, right?
Jameis Winston, yep.
The crab leg guy?
Crab leg you.
That's right. Look, Jimbo, I mean, yeah, somebody may want you. Maybe a Long Island University. I don't know. And for all of those that don't know about Long Island University, You're not alone. We didn't either.
We didn't either. We'll all find out together.
That's right. Look, man, the coaches poll came out this week, and I think that's pretty interesting. 9 SEC teams, 9 out of the 16, better than 50%. That's good. 6 Big Tens, 3 ACCs, 5 Big 12s. That's interesting to me. And then, of course, that rounds out Boise State and Notre Dame have found their way in there, as Notre Dame always does. This year, I would definitely – Notre Dame is – I mean, they're in the top 5. And I don't know if I'd put them in the top 5, but I don't know. I mean, I think they should be in the top 25. I think they're a good, solid team.
They're a solid team. They've got a nice returning squad, and they played for the national championship last year. So
that's right.
There's nothing really negative to say about them that I think should drop them necessarily in this field.
No, and I think Marcus Freeman's doing a great job there.
He's an outstanding coach. He has brought Notre Dame back to national prominence, I believe.
Yeah, and I think he's really brought, in my opinion, a lot of integrity back into that program. I'm not saying that they had a bad, they're a bad program or not, but his integrity is pretty top notch, man. And I think when you have something like that, that carries through your program in a very positive way.
Yeah,
for sure.
Agreed.
Texas and Ohio State round out 1 and 2. I mean, I don't know if you can really argue that. You and I was talking about that. I think until it's proven otherwise, I think the college football masses believe that Arch Manning is the second coming. I mean, he's the guy. And like I said, until he's proven that he's not, they're going to look at him that way.
Well, they're going to find out. Lost one of his offensive tackles. And one of the things that we've talked about is that offensive line at Texas being able to protect Arch. I know that he's got escapability. I know that he's quick on his feet. I know he's got an absolute cannon for an arm. He has all of the tools, but you still need a second. And so will they be able to protect him? Listen, no doubt that the Longhorns have a similar mentality to every other program in the country that is successful, which is next man up, right? So I hate that they lost this OT for the season with the knee injury. I'll pronounce his name wrong, but I've got to, just because I want to acknowledge the young man, Andre Coyo, Cojoe. If I'm saying it wrong, at least I spelled it right. This young man goes down. We'll see what Arch can do. Can he stay protected behind that line to make quick enough decisions to propel Texas? They're going to find out real quick opening up against Ohio State.
What did you say his size is? Besides large?
He's a biggin. He's a biggin. No doubt that he'd be a tough dude to get around. I don't care how quick you are. 6'6", 335 pounds. My man is not missing workouts, and he for sure is not missing meals.
Oh, that boy big. He's huge.
He's solid.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, man, I mean, like you said, next man up, right? But next man up works a lot of times with a lot of programs, but that guy's going to be hard to replace. He has some experience. Like you said, I think you said he played in 4 games last year. So he was the presumed guy. He's waited his turn. He's big. He's ready. And now it's the next man up. And that's going to be hard to replace that big old boy.
Yeah, one of the things that we've talked about with the offensive line and how it's different from some of the other positions is you can't just have the raw skills, just the raw tools. You have to have that chemistry. You're working with 4 other guys that you have to work with in unison to run block, to pass protect, whatever it is, depending on who you're lining up against and their potential defensive pressures that they're going to put on you. You've got to have that team chemistry. So while you might have another big solid player behind Andre that can step up into that role, does he have the chemistry with the starting front?
Yeah, who knows, man. Look, one other thing that I was going to mention really quick is, and I don't think it's breaking news, but I know Garrett Nussmeier in LSU, he's dealing with some kind of tendonitis in his knee, and look, they're not saying anything serious, but they're just throwing it out there. So either it's nothing and they just need something to write about, or maybe it is something and they're just preparing the world for maybe him not producing as well. I don't know yet. There's not a whole lot out there other than he's dealing with a minor injury right now. So, but interesting all in all, as far as the coaches poll, I think it's pretty fair. We'll talk about just really quick some of our teams. They've got Georgia in at number 4. I think that's a good spot for the Bulldogs. They've got a lot of talent out there. I think their biggest question, which if you ask me is probably still Texas' biggest question, is new guy under center, right? But other than that, the weapons are there. I heard Kirby came out this week and said that this is the healthiest. I hope I'm not jinxing my dogs, but this is the healthiest team he's had in 5 years. So there's not a whole lot of injuries out there right now. They're all looking good. So he's pretty pumped about that. Speaking of Carolina, we talk about Carolina, Chicken the Dawg. Carolina is sitting at 13. I think that's a great spot for Carolina. I think that's the right spot for Carolina, somewhere between 10 and 15. And, they got Ole Miss at 15. I had to say something about my guy.
How you doing?
I mean, it is what it is. But all in all, Alabama's 8, LSU's 9. To me, I could go either way on those guys. I think they're a top 10 team right now, both of them. Could LSU be better than Alabama? I mean, my gut tells me they will be just because of Nussmeier, right? But I don't know.
Yeah, I think differently there. I think they're right where they should be. They're neck and neck. I don't know that I would put LSU above Alabama. I think both of them have very complete football programs right now. But I like that they're side by side, neck and neck. For whatever reason, I think Bama's going to end up still above LSU at the end of the year when all the dust clears. Definitely like where they're positioned so far. LSU has the opportunity as they open up against currently number 6 Clemson to make a move in the poll.
Clemson.
So that they've got opportunity early to kind of start with some pushing out, some boxing out against Alabama, but we'll see how that goes.
Oh, yeah, and I just have to mention this just because, but there is a team that's right in front of South Carolina, and it's the Fighting Curtises. Curtis.
Enjoy the view.
I don't know what kind of team they're going to be this year. I mean, they had a decent team last year. They did. Illinois had a good season last year.
They did. Yeah.
I don't know who's returning because I'm just going to be honest. They're not SEC.
They're not, but they've got some SEC connections. I know Coach Stepp that's up there at Illinois was formerly the wide receivers coach at the University of South Carolina, and he left to go up to coach there at the Illini under Bielema. So they've got some connections there, but that's about as much as I care. That and the fact that Curtis loves them.
That's right.
Go Curtis. I hope your team does well, but I hope they don't end up remaining above South Carolina in the poll.
Look at you kind of being humbled today. That's very odd.
It's not humble. It's early in both the morning and the season.
Okay. Well, there you go. Look, man, before we jump into Florida season, which I think there's a good bit to talk about that because Florida is one of the most interesting teams for me this year. Anyway, we'll get into that in a minute. But before we do, I do want to take a moment and bring you our dog bark of the week. We only have a couple to talk about, and just because of time, I got in trouble with the last one from our producer saying that we took too much time on that. Sorry, B. It won't happen again. I will listen to you moving forward.
Maybe if he was on the show, we could avoid such things.
Yes, for sure. We are missing him for sure today. But anyway, dog bark this week. All right, we were talking about the Ole Miss episode, and this guy named Grayson Wright said, love the vid. Must be young.
He's younger than we are.
Yeah. Love the vid. I think they go 9-3 with this easier SEC schedule. Definitely not as good as a team last year, the last year's team. I couldn't agree with him more. I think he's probably on point. I think they have the opportunity to go 9-3, 8-4, somewhere in that realm. But that team last year for Ole Miss was pretty special.
They were. I think there's a big question. You can't say that they're not going to be as good as they were last year. You can't say that they will be as good as they were last. There's just a big question mark there, right?
Yes.
Jackson Dart, a unique and highly skilled player, and he's going to be missed. What's the magnitude of that, though, going into this season? We'll find out. But I think a solid take from Grayson on the upcoming season for the Rebels.
Yeah, and they lost, a couple of their best wide receivers, too. Juice Wells is gone. I think one other wide receiver went into the NFL. So, but that happens to every team, right? You can look at Ohio State and look how great Ohio State was last year. Will Howard's gone. Abuka is gone. They lost a ton of people off of the defense. Now, Caleb Downs is coming back, so that's great. But you're talking, and they lost, I think, both of their running backs, Junkins and that other guy. They're all gone. So it's next man up. And that's the beauty of college football, right? It's that unknown, and we love it. Just one other quick comment. This came back to our Texas A&M show that we did. It came in late. This guy came in, and he says, well, let me first of all read his handle. TX, I'm going to assume that stands for Texas.
One would think.
Yeah, one would think. VA, I don't think that's Veterans Affairs. I think. And the reason I say that is the next one is Hokie. So
he's the Virginia Tech guy.
That's what it looks like from Texas.
Hey, that's allowed. That's allowed. There are a lot of architects that come from Virginia Tech, I'm sure scattered throughout our great nation. So we'll give him some leeway so far.
You won't after I say this. His comment was, it's apparent these guys, I'm assuming he's talking about us.
Who else?
Have not studied rosters at all. So you might need to take them to class.
Okay. First of all, TXVA Hokie, I'm going to call you Bob. First of all, Bob, I've not said anything about Virginia Tech's roster, so let's not start there. That's just a poor foot.
You do like Enter Sandman, though, right?
I love Enter Sandman. Metallica, I think that's a really cool entrance that those guys have. I'm going to also kind of shift, and if you're coming at me from an Aggie argument, dude, go back down to your grandma's basement, put your khaki pants on, and practice screaming some more. Get over yourself. You love the show, or you wouldn't comment on it. So let's not pretend that you got a problem with Chicken and the Dawg, okay? Find a better way to bring some affection. We love you too, Bob.
That's right, Bob. And look, if you go back, and my memory's not as good as it used to be. As you can see, I'm not as young as that other guy that said, love the vid.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not that guy.
We can't keep up with you kids and your slang.
Yeah. But I will say this, if my memory serves me correctly, we didn't really say anything bad about A&M's roster. I mean, we thought that they had a solid base to, that Elko is building. I don't think it was anything really derogatory. Not that I can remember. But
this is a time of year, and I'm going to give Bob some grace. This is the time of year where every fan believes that their program has arrived in one level or another, right? So maybe you're the Long Island Fighting Sharks, where you feel like this is the year where we're going to go to a major bowl. Or maybe you're Notre Dame, where you feel like this is the year we're going to bring another championship back to South Bend. Or maybe you're Bob, and you feel like this is the year that A&M is going to win the SEC while playing Enter Sandman and wearing Virginia Tech uniforms. I don't know, Bob. Dial it back a little bit, bring it back to planet Earth, And let's remember a few key things. Key thing number one for Texas A&M, you got to play Texas. Key thing number two, you're still Texas A&M in the SEC, and that hasn't played out the way you wanted it to so far. Key thing number three, Bob, you're in Texas. Pick a team, change your handle, let us know where you really stand. Go Fighting Khakis.
Yeah, doesn't South Carolina play Virginia Tech this year?
Yeah, we
We do.
open up against them, and then, of course, they'll play Texas A&M. So, Bob, I got you covered one way or the other.
That's right.
And we'll have continuing conversations, Bob.
If he's confused, you got him covered.
We got him covered. Now, listen, this is the beginning of the year. So right now, the chicken tells you that I got Bob beat both times. Maybe it plays out different, but I'm an optimist, Bob. I pull for South Carolina. I'm an optimist.
For sure. You have to be. You have to have thick skin, and you have to have that. There's always next year.
There's always next year. There's always the next game when you play Bob.
That's right. That's right. All right. So that was the dog bark. This episode's of the dog bark. That may be one for the books. I don't know, but it was fun.
There you go.
Look, let's talk about the Fighting Flobies and their season. Let's go over their games. Now, we have mentioned this first game team a few times in this episode so far.
Probably more than any other media outlet in the history of this school.
There is no doubt about that, especially anything that's in the Southeastern Conference. But here we go. The Florida Gators, I hope they got their team ready for this one, have to face the Long Island Iced Teas.
Wow.
Yes.
I mean, does it get, and listen, 7:00 at night in the swamp, thank God. Because if they had to play up at the bar, there's no telling how this would go.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's going to be hot and sticky at 7:00 in the swamp. Bring your lunch pail.
Yeah, I mean, look, we have already talked, like you said, we have talked about the Long Island Sharks quite a bit on this show already. We mentioned them 4 or 5 times, and I think there's still more to come as we talk about this a little bit more. I mean, it's still early, so I'm sure that the paycheck that they're going to be getting from this game probably has a lot of zeros.
Absolutely.
I think the Chicken The Dawg should get some of that for our endorsing their program, our mention it. We are bringing their program to life.
They've been around for about 5 minutes with a storied history. Until we brought the schedule up, I didn't know there was a university on Long Island. Now, before I get all sorts of dog bark material
yes,
on the various platforms,
we'll take it.
I'm not from the Northeast, clearly. I'm from South Carolina, so I did not know much about the New York area, nor did I care. So there you go, Shark fans. I didn't know you had a school. I don't know that after this, you're going to want people to know that you have a school, because I think the Gators are going to just rip you to shreds.
Yeah, I think AOC went to Long Island University. She's a Shark.
So clearly they have a high standard for academia.
Yeah. All right. So let's just run through the rest of their schedule really quick.
Didn't she major in like Dr. Seuss and crayons or something?
Something like that. Let's go through the schedule really fast, and then I'm sure you're ready to dive into their depth chart. So they open up with Long Island, then they take on South Florida. Then they have to go to Baton Rouge. Then they have to go to Miami and take on the Fighting Becks. Then they host Texas. Then they go to College Station at A&M. Then they take on Mississippi State at home. Then they play Georgia and Jacksonville. Then they go to Lexington, Kentucky, take on the Fighting Birds. At Lexington. Then they have to go to Oxford and take on Ole Miss. Then they host Tennessee, and they host Florida State. What a great schedule. All in all, I like it. And I don't know if I'd like it if I was a Florida Gator, but it's a great schedule, all in all.
Hold your horses, my friend. Things are looking iffy in the swamp.
Do tell.
Things are looking iffy in the swamp. A lot of injuries on this team right now, and they are all on the offensive side of the football.
Not a good look.
Not a good way to fire up the Floby. Jaden Ball, running back, questionable right now. He's practicing with non-contact, and they are not disclosing the nature of his injury. This is as of Wednesday this past week. Eugene Wilson III, wide receiver. He's sitting out practices early in camp. Could just be going through some protocols to make sure that that hip he was struggling with is back on track and where it needs to be and not trying to aggravate anything. Who knows? Tony Livingston, tight end, listed as questionable. Wearing a black jersey at camp, meaning he's at limited participation as he deals with some lingering injuries. Dallas Wilson, wide receiver, listed as questionable. He got hurt in fall camp. He's expected to be out a couple of weeks, which means he could be back for the opening kick against Long Island. But hey, we might not want to put him up against that high of a competition.
No.
Let the guy get better before you throw him to the wolves, will you? Aiden Mizell, wide receiver, questionable, practicing with non-contact, undisclosed injury. DJ Lagway, as we mentioned earlier, he's wearing a boot right now. It's hinted that it's a foot injury of some sort. I think that it's more geared, his lack of participation is more geared toward letting that shoulder completely heal, which he had surgery on during the offseason. Just let's let this kid get back to 100%, maybe 110%, because I'm sure DJ's got an extra gear in there before we really put too much in front of him and start knocking him around in practice. Trayon Webb is out. This guy's going to be out for at least 2 games this year, hamstring injury. So they've got him listed as out right now at running back. Khalil Jackson, another wide receiver. He's had a limited start to camp right now with a lingering knee issue. They don't know when or if he's going to be able to come back. Questionable right now. Muiz Tunkara, I don't know, another guy out of the wide receiver room. He's practicing with non-contact, another undisclosed injury. So a lot of question around the Florida Gators depth chart offensively. A lot of undisclosed injury. We're at practice, but we're not hitting each other kind of a deal. So not really sure how that plays out. So there's some haze, some fog in the swamp. Let's look at the depth chart. Assuming that DJ is going to be okay to play, there's your starter. 5-star guy. Everybody's excited to see what DJ can do this year. We're excited to see what DJ is going to be able to bring to the table this year. Played in 12 games last year, threw for 1,900 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. Also ran the ball 58 times for 188 yards. So a definite guy to watch. Behind him, listed right now, is a grad student, Harrison Bailey. Harrison threw for 227 yards last year, 3 touchdowns. He transfers in, I believe, from either Ball State or Louisville. I just can't see. But Bob, before you jump on me for this, I don't see very well, so I can see the little mascot for where this kid transferred in from. I just can't see it well. Aiden Warner behind them, Clay Millen. So a solid group, I think. Tramell Jones Jr., 4-star true freshman at quarterback. So Napier's bringing in his guys to continue to rebuild Florida. Jaden Ball would be listed as your starter at running back. We got a questionable injury there. 670 yards last year, 7 touchdowns. Jacoby Jackson right now listed behind him, redshirt senior, ran for 506 yards and 7 touchdowns out of JUCO. Trayon Webb, injured. He's out right now with that hamstring injury. A lot going on in the wide receivers room. Eugene Wilson, Aiden Mizell, Dallas Wilson, Khalil Jackson. We talked about all those guys. Wilson the third, Mizell, and Dallas Wilson. Okay, those guys are all listed in your top upper echelon out of that wide receivers room. So these guys are going to be contributors if they can get on track. J. Michael Sturdivant transferred in from UCLA. a 4-star redshirt senior, had 315 yards receiving last year, 2 touchdowns. So they'll be looking to get some production out of him. Tony Livingston was the tight end that we talked about. He's listed as number 2 on your depth chart out of that room. Hayden Hansen is going to lead that charge right now. 15 receptions, 207 yards last year, and a touchdown. So excited to see what he's going to be able to do. Right now, knock on wood, you've got an A for your starters rating on the offensive line with an A+ at depth, and no injuries to report for the offensive line group in Florida. So again, it's going to come down to that chemistry aspect. Are they going to be able to have the chemistry that they need to protect Lagway? Right now, all indicators are yes. Going over into the defense, your defensive line, Tyreek Sapp is going to lead that group. 14 hurries, 8 sacks last year, 30 total tackles at the edge position. Caleb Banks is going to be your leading defensive tackle. 12 tackles last year, 4 sacks, 13 total stops. The other edge looks like it's going to be Kamran James, a junior, played in 13 games last year, 17 tackles, 3 sacks. So a solid group up front. In the linebacker position, Grayson Howard, a former Gamecock, came to South Carolina, played some his freshman year, then transferred down to Gainesville, former 4-star. He's a junior right now. Going to be leading the crew there at the middle linebacker position. 25 tackles, 3 hurries, and a sack. So looking to see what he can do with the linebacker group leading that defense. Kofi Aser, the other, he's listed as the jack linebacker right now. 12 games played last year, 18 tackles, 3 sacks. So some inexperienced guys coming in there as they are littered with juniors and sophomores at the position for linebacker. Defensive back, these guys look pretty strong. Jordan Castell and Bryce Thornton are going to be starting at your safety positions. Devin Moore and Sharif Denson at your corners and nickelback. Your starters are listed as a B+ for Florida at the defensive back position. Your depth is an A+, which means that Napier can just roll guys in and keep that look changed up throughout the game, keep the legs fresh. You're going to be well covered when you play Florida. We don't ever talk about kickers and punters, so why change things now? That's your depth chart looking at Florida going into this season as we get ready to take a more detailed look at their schedule and potential outcomes.
Wow, I'm going to tell you, 2 things. Their offense, my Lord, is there a lot of question marks in that thing? And as you went through that, and I started thinking about that and was thinking about their upcoming schedule, I think it's may actually changed my outlook on some of these games where I may have given Florida the edge. Not anymore. They are going to have to really put some things together. It looks like the defense is going to be really solid. But as we know, thanks to, in my opinion, Lane Kiffin, you have to have a pretty good offense to play in the SEC these days. A defense is not going to carry it all. So they better get something worked out on the offensive side of that ball, or they're going to struggle, or the Flowbee is going to have a hard struggle this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that helps Florida, and we'll talk about it as we get into it, is the most glaring injury that they got right now is Trayvon Webb, and they're thinking that it might be 2 weeks. If that's all it is the first 2 games of the season for Florida, it won't impact you that much. And he's not listed as your number 1 running back. Now, we know what the SEC is like now, where it's not a feature back conference. It's how many guys do you have that can carry the rock for you in the SEC. So he's going to be one of those guys for the Gators this year. The question will be, when can they get him on the field to help shoulder that load?
You said he has a hamstring injury, right?
That's correct. That's what they've got it listed as.
That's tough to come back from. I think it was Nick Chubb, had a hamstring injury at Georgia, and it took him a long time to truly recover and to be able to be comfortable moving the way that he needs to move with the hamstring. That's difficult for a running back. But look, I hope the young man comes back and he has a great season. I mean, it's good for the SEC. It's good for college football if the Florida Gators are relevant, right?
That's right. That's right.
Let's dive into their season. And this may be the last time we mention this team. But
Possible.
They open up with the Long Island Sharks, or should I say the Long Island AOC Sharks? I don't know.
LIU comes to Gainesville to leave with an L. Sorry, I don't know how else to put it. They're going to get trounced. I think whether DJ plays or not, I think that they could do nothing but start true freshmen in this game because that would only count as one game against their redshirt year. You could start a nothing but true freshman in this game and still come out with the W.
And it's a 7 o'clock kickoff in the swamp.
7 o'clock kick on both of the pluses, ESPN Plus and the SEC Network Plus.
They're
so
plus.
You better be a Plus subscriber to see this game. Otherwise, no one is going to tell you anything. We will on this show. We'll tell you what happened, but I don't even think the mothership is going to let you know what happened in this game because clearly they don't care.
Yes, absolutely not. Then they come and host South Florida. That's a W for Florida. Yeah, there's no doubt. Then they have to go to Baton Rouge and take on Garrett Nussmeier. That is already listed as a 7:30 kickoff in Death Valley. You might as well stay in Gainesville.
Might as well stay in Gainesville. This is the game that Trayvon could be back for. Don't hold your breath, folks. This is not the game that he's going to come back for. You're going to want to rest him up again before you go and take on Miami the following week. I look at this game. I'm going to give LSU the win here. I think this is going to be the first loss of the season for the Gators, but I think it can be close. I really do. A lot for me comes down to the depth that they've got at the defensive back position and the absolute depth that they appear to have at the offensive line position. This is one of those things where can they keep DJ healthy? This is a game that's directly impacted by that question. Can they keep DJ healthy and on the field? Keep in mind, DJ Lagway is the guy that in his first start as a true freshman put up 456 yards of offense. This is going to be a big game to watch.
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be a good game. And before I knew that their defense was as loaded as they are, I would have said that Garrett Nussmeier is going to throw about 600 and 800 yards on these guys, but maybe not. But it is Death Valley. So
I don't because of again, like you said, because of the defense, because that defensive back room, they can just keep rotating guys in all game long. I don't think that this is the Heisman night for Nuss. I do think that he's going to have a good game. Is it going to be 600, 500 yards through the air? Probably not. If I had to guess right now, I think he throws for 350, 375 and a few touchdowns, and LSU wins this game by 7. I think it's going to be a tight matchup, but I could also see Lagway having just an explosion kind of a game and Florida coming out on top as well.
Wow. Okay. See, I think it's a hard win for LSU or hard loss for Florida, however you want to look at it. I think it's hard for me. The next game, they have to stay on the road and go to Miami and take on the Fighting Carson Becks.
For me, this is Florida all day long. I haven't seen anything from Carson Beck other than the ability to purchase and lose high-priced vehicles and to date and lose very attractive co-eds. I just, nothing football related from Carson Beck from my standpoint. I know that he's been a part of some national championship teams with Georgia, but I don't see those as Carson Beck championships. I see those as Georgia championships. I don't think it's going to be any different at the U.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with you on this one. Everything that I've been reading, of course, you're going to hear that about every team, oh, this guy is great. But there's a lot of great things being said about what Carson Beck is doing so far in fall camp at Miami. He's healed well. He's throwing great. It looks really, really good. I think Florida could lose this game. This game is actually a toss-up game for me. I think this could be Florida's second loss, potentially. For sure.
So you got him at 2-2. I've got him at 3-1 going to Texas. Texas coming into Gainesville.
Yep. Yeah, Texas has to come to the swamp. So what's your thoughts on that?
I think this is a loss for Florida. I think that the Longhorns hand it to them on their field. I don't think that it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be a 10, maybe a 14-point win for the Longhorns. I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a battle between Arch Manning and DJ Lagway and who reigns supreme as the up-and-coming quarterback in the SEC. I think that all of the networks are going to be all over this as to who gets to air this thing, but I think Texas comes out on top.
See, if my numbers are correct and I have them dropping to LSU and Miami, I think Florida beats Texas in the Swamp. I do. I really do. Because I think Texas is going to come in there, and I'm not, Sark's a good enough coach not to overlook a certain team or any team at that point. Even Long Island, so we didn't mention them again.
There you go.
Even teams
Go Sharks.
Yeah, even a team like Long Island. So, but it's one thing for the coach to have that mindset, but it's another thing for the players to have that mindset. And I think the Texas Longhorn people, the players, could potentially overlook this game. And I also think that, another thing, I think that Florida could be bounced back from 2 losses, could really just be on fire at that point, be a little pissed off and play. Plus, they're back. If my numbers are right, they just lost back-to-back road losses. They just on the road. They're back in the Swamp. Ask Lane Kiffin last year how hard it is to play in the Swamp. It's hard.
It's a tough environment. Yep.
They beat Ole Miss. And Ole Miss was a good team last year, very special team last year. They beat them. I think that Texas loses this game.
Okay, so we've both got them at 3-2 right now.
Yep. Then they have to go back on the road and go to College Stations to Texas A&M.
I think they will leave the Aggies with a lot to scream about. I think Florida wins this game.
I'm going to go opposite.
Of course. This is our opposite show.
Yes. I actually think that A&M wins this game. Okay. If I'm right, all the way down to that they just beat Texas, they're on a high. They go into College Station. The color khaki blinds them. They don't know what to do with that. It's a total. Their colors are totally opposite of Florida's colors. I just don't think they'll be able to see correctly. And I think, and maybe a little intimidated about the swords on the field. I don't know. But I think they lose to Texas A&M.
All right, so we're splitting Texas.
Yes, we might agree on this next one.
Okay, there's a chance.
They go back home and they take on Mississippi State.
Go Sharks! I mean, go Bulldogs. Yeah, I think this is a definite win. Man, you just continue to feel bad for Mississippi State, don't you? But hey, I think Long Island is looking for some games to schedule next year. Maybe Mississippi State can get in on some of that.
Oh, for sure. They'll take your money.
That's right.
I think, I think Florida bounces back and beats Mississippi State for sure. Then they have to go to Jacksonville, Florida, the world's largest cocktail party, and take on the Georgia Bulldogs.
This game is always a fun one to watch. Historically, there have been times where Florida is perceivably down and they still have Georgia's number. I think that script has been flipped in the Kirby Smart era to where maybe Georgia is not as strong as everybody wants them to be, but they can still come into Jacksonville and beat the Gators. I don't know how good Georgia's going to be this year. Obviously, the question marks with a new guy under center, but I think irregardless of that, they're going to be good enough to beat Florida.
Yeah, I'm going to say Georgia wins this game. And up until we started recording the show and you went over the depth chart, I was worried about this game. It was one of my games that I felt that could be a trap game for Georgia. I know that we have to play Alabama, Ole Miss, and Texas. Georgia does this year. But we play them in Athens. That's a different ball game. And this game is always one of those nervous games, right? But you're right. Under Kirby Smart, he's kind of taken that away. That well, even though Florida may not be as good, they're still going to, they still beat Georgia. But after you discuss how the offense is, and I just don't see that they're starting out with that many injuries. You guys, you're playing in the SEC. Usually injuries come later in the season because you play in the SEC. I think the injuries continue to plague this team, and Georgia comes out on top.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Then there's hope. Then you get to go. Then you go to Lexington, Kentucky, and take on the Fighting Stoops. And look, by this time, because we haven't gone over Kentucky's season yet, Stoops may be gone.
It could be.
It could be. So who knows?
I think that in the Bluegrass State, Florida will find hope, and they will find bowl eligibility. This is win number 6 for the Gators.
Yeah, I have them beating Kentucky for sure. Then they have to go to Oxford and take on my man Lane Kiffin.
How you doing?
I know that again, it's a theme, right? New guy under center is the theme apparently of this episode. Lagway, if he's healthy, I think he puts Florida in a great position to win back-to-back matchups against Ole Miss. But it's Lane Kiffin. It's in Oxford. This is going to be a knockdown drag-out. I've got this one at a push right now. This one's a tough one for me to call, so I'm going to leave it as a push.
I know this may shock you, but I'm going to say Ole Miss is going to win the game. And let me give you a reason. It's not because of my man crush for Lane Kiffin. It's more, it hinges on the fact that Florida really derailed Ole Miss's chance to get in the playoffs last year. I think this is a revenge game for Lane Kiffin. I think he proves that this year. That's why I think he beats them. But I may have a different opinion once Ole Miss starts playing a little bit and we see what their guy under center is going to look like, right?
Yeah, for sure. There's no telling. I mean, we're talking about this in August. There's no telling what this conversation looks like in November.
Correct. Then they come home for their last 2 games. The problem, tough roads, man. I mean, I don't know, man. Do you call Georgia and Jacksonville a road game? I mean, you're an hour from your stadium, for crying out loud. That's like, and look, and I'll say this as well. When you talk about, Georgia's got a neutral site, but they're playing in Mercedes-Benz. Is it really neutral? Come on.
Well, I think that you could say that for Jacksonville, for Georgia too, because there are so many Georgia fans in that part of Florida, in the northernmost part of Florida, that, I mean, both sides can make an argument. Florida can say, well, yeah, it's only an hour away, and there are plenty of Florida fans up in Jacksonville, but Georgia can also say, yeah, it's a further trip for us, so it is a road game, but at the same time, there's a lot of red and black that fills up that stadium. This is going to sound sacrilege. I don't like this being played in Jacksonville anymore.
I don't either.
I would like for this to go to a home, away, neutral, and on a 3-site rotation for this particular rivalry. I think this rivalry has become so big, and I'm going to call it the world's largest outdoor cocktail party because that's what it is, and this is America.
Yes.
That's what we've got to get back to here. We've got to celebrate that. We've got to let this rivalry achieve the status that I believe that it has earned. Athens, Gainesville, Jacksonville, make it happen.
Well, they are going to get that opportunity because I think Jacksonville Stadium, I think it's going under some kind of construction. So I do believe that there's going to be a couple years that they're going somewhere else. And it could be a home and away. I don't know yet. I think it's already been established, and I'm old and I can't remember.
Well, they need to make that the new norm.
I think
not just, hey, we're doing this while and we're going to come back to Jacksonville permanently after. This needs to be the new norm of a rotation. But kind of getting back to this again, I think that we're in a different era now with Georgia and Florida football, and I think Georgia owns it. This is another loss for them. Kentucky is going to be bowl eligibility. Lane is where we left off and went off on this tangent.
I'm sorry.
You're good because I enjoyed the ride. I think that, again, for me, this is a push. I can see it going either way.
The Tennessee?
Tennessee is a dumpster fire. I think that Florida wears them out in Gainesville. I don't think that my opinion of this matchup is going to be any different if it were played in Knoxville.
No.
I don't have any kind of high hopes for the Volunteers at all this year. I'm sorry, folks, if you're into that orange sherbet tea, but it ain't working for me.
No, I'm going to be right there with you. I think Florida wins against Tennessee. I think there's just too much craziness that's going on with the Volunteers. And then their final game is Florida State.
Wow. DJ Ukulele's father came out and said some things trying to bolster his son and get that reputation back on track as a competitive quarterback, as he's now fighting for a position in the NFL. And he pointed some big fingers at Mike Norvell and the Florida State Seminoles. This program is in a tough spot, and they got a lot of work to do to get back to where they were a few years ago as an regular season undefeated team. I don't see it happening this year. I think the Gators beat up on the Noles.
I do too. So that would put me at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 losses. So a 7-5 score. And I think that's about where you were at as well, somewhere in there.
I've got them right at 8. I have them hitting win number 6 at Kentucky, win number 7 against Tennessee, and win number 8 against Florida State, with that Ole Miss in flux.
So an 8-4 season, it's not a bad season for them.
That's a really good season, I think, for Florida, and I think that it continues to show that progression. I see them as an 8-win, possibly a 9-win team this year. So Florida could be, pardon the pun, nipping at some heels this year, which is fantastic because this time last year, we were wondering how long Napier was going to be in Florida.
Yeah.
And I think this is the season that shows Napier is the guy for Florida.
But they better get healthy, or DJ Lagway better stay healthy, or that's going to mess some stuff up for sure.
So that brings us to our Chicken Scratch moment of this episode. Chicken Scratch brought to you by Off the Chain Kennels, OTC Kennels on Facebook and Instagram. We've talked about before if Napier is directly tied to Lagway in terms of success, in terms of job stability. In looking at the roster this week as I prepared for the show, and yes, Bob, I do study the roster, you Texas, Virginia Tech, Hokie, Aggie, whatever you want to call yourself this afternoon. But I digress. In looking at this, is his tenure at Florida really tied to Lagway, or is it going to be tied to the opportunity for next man up? Napier has built a solid roster. We talked a few weeks ago, Bob, about what Elko has done at Texas A&M. What are we seeing here at Florida? What is Napier doing? I think he's doing some great things. I don't think that his tenure is directly tied to Lagway. I think Lagway certainly helps him. I think Lagway gets him an extension at the end of this season. But I think if you dig down into the Gator roster, I think you see some really great things for the future for Billy Napier.
I think Florida should stick with Napier. I do. But as you discussed when going over the roster, going over their depth chart looks fantastic. If you took away the injuries, their depth chart on both sides of the ball looks great. Their depth chart on the defense now, because they're not plagued with injuries right now, looks really good. Their offense, there's a lot of question marks because of how much injuries they have right now. Is that Napier's fault? No, it's not his fault that these kids get hurt. It is his fault if he didn't have the talent in there to be able to get hurt, right? So I do think that if DJ Lagway and that offense can produce a 7 to 8 win season, Napier's good. If DJ and that offense produces a 6-6 or God forbid a 5-7 season, could be a different story. Well, I think it's the wrong move for the Florida Gators. Do I think it'd be the wrong move to get rid of Napier, even if they have a 5-7 season? Absolutely, because you got to look at the thing as a whole. Look at the entire picture. You guys have, and I say you guys, for you Florida fans, for you Florida alums, and all of you guys that are pulled for these Florida Gators, your program is where it's been because of the rotating of coaches over the years. You got to stick with this guy and give him the chance. I think he's a good coach, and I think he has the potential to bring Florida back to where they need to be. So
100%, 100%. And let me close out by saying this. I just got a message from Bob. He is actually adding a school to his mind. He actually graduated from Long Island.
I was sitting there thinking about the Long Island Sharks. See, we keep bringing them up. They may be our new favorite school. I don't know.
They might be.
It may be Chicken and the Dog and the Sharks at some point, and Bob at some point.
And Bob.
Yeah. But I did think about this. Is there a chance, week 1, college game day, is Lee Corso's last? Is there a chance that he may pick the Sharks to beat the Gators? I don't know. Will he pick Long Island?
How great would that be? If he's just like, you know what? Screw it. Go Sharks. Give me the head. Give me the head.
That's right. There's no shark head? Dang it.
That's right. Not even for my last show.
Yeah, I don't know. That would be really – it could happen. You never know with that guy.
Don't hold your breath, Bob. It won't, but it could happen.
But look, man, that all in all, I think Florida's one of those teams, man, that they're on the cusp of doing something really great. Really, really great in Gainesville. This could be the year that they do it. I really believe that. Could be.
Yeah, I agree.
Look, like us, follow us, subscribe to us, share us, tell your neighbors, tell your friends.
Bob.
Tell Bob. Tell anyone. Tell the Sharks. Somebody. Look, man, you got anything else?
Man, what a great show. Thank you, Bob, or whatever your real name is. You gave us a lot of stuff to have fun with today. Keep that coming, guys. We love having you guys participate with the show. Just gives us something to have fun with, and that's what this should all be about, the fun, the love of college football.
That's right. Look, man, I'm good. You're good.
I'm all crowed out.
All right, guys, love us, like us, share us. Deuces.
Bye.